Hey guys, what's going on? Today we are going to do a live screen share analysis where I'm going to go through with you and we're going to compare buying a cheap home in an area that's not as well established yet, where it looks like maybe we can get a higher return of cash flow there, versus buying a home in a more well-established neighborhood where maybe you're going to get more appreciation, there's other pros to it, but the cons generally are that you get less cash flow when you pay more money for these expensive homes. So we're going to do a comparison analysis. We're going to go over the pros and cons. We're going to see which one would give you more cash flow and see, does it outweigh the pros and cons of buying the other home in the other area. And so we're going to be doing an analysis in the Orlando, Florida market. This is the market that I'm a licensed real estate agent in. And I actually already did this analysis this morning. A little disclaimer here. So I was considering investing in these areas that are, I guess some people might say, less established, or where the cheaper homes are. I was just curious about it. I figured, hey, normally that's not my go-to. I like going to the more well-established neighborhoods where I can count on the appreciation over time. It might not happen every year. Of course, there's corrections, but over the long term, I can count on the appreciation being there because I know the population is growing. People like to live there, they want to live there, and I have generally a higher pool and a higher quality level of tenants in those areas as well. So they generally will take better care of my property as opposed to some of the cheaper areas. But again, in this analysis, it's not to steer anyone away from any one of these areas. I do invest in the well-established areas, and I am considering investing in these cheaper home areas. So I was curious and I wanted to see, how much more cash flow, because a lot of landlords and a lot of flippers in Orlando really like this area. It's like, in the Pine Hills area, it's like basically the area between downtown Orlando and Winter Garden, like just everything in between that. Flippers and landlords tend to love that area because the homes over there are so cheap. I mean, you can get a fixer-upper in the 100s, and then you can get, when it's already fixed up and turnkey, in the 2s. So you can get some really cheap real estate over there. And I was wondering, man, I know I like the security of having a good qualified tenant, but I mean, how much more cash flow are they getting? Like, would it be worth it? Is it possible? So I did the analysis and I found it really interesting, so I wanted to share it with you guys. So enough babbling on, let's get into the video and let's hop over to the screen share. All right, so this is the house that I picked out in Pine Hills that I figured, hey, we could buy. I mean, this is a good one for, if you want to rent out to families, because it's a 4-bedroom, it's a 2-bath, 1,800 square feet. This means, hey, someone who rents this over someone who rents, a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, or they only have 1 bathroom, they're probably going to stay longer at this 4-bedroom. You're gonna have less turnover here. So good, I like this. This is more of a family-oriented home. $185,000, that's pretty cheap in the Orlando, Florida area. Hey, it needs some work, it needs some fix up, but it's not bad, just a little cosmetics is what it looks like from the pictures. Okay, I think this one, it says contingent might be pending. All right, so let's say we could have picked this one up for $185. Let's say we were the person under contract here. How much money could we rent this thing out for, and what would our mortgage payment be? All right, so now we're gonna hop on over to the MLS, and this over here, right where my arrow is, this is the same area where that home is that we're hypothetically buying in this scenario. And I've already preset it to properties that are of the similar square footage, and so that way we can see what did they rent for. These are what properties have rented for. And so we see there's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath that rented for $1,325, 100 square feet smaller, okay. $1,375, same bedrooms and baths, but about 100 square feet smaller. Okay. $1,750 4-2, so same bedrooms and baths, and again 100 square feet smaller. But this one looks like it was renovated and it was done up nicely. Yeah, this thing is nice. I bet you a flipper came in here and did this. This property looks really nice. So we know if we buy this property and we fix it up to look like that one and we spend some money in it, we know that we can rent our place out for, this one went for $1,750. Cool. So now we know we can rent this place out for $1,750. Now we need to figure out what is our mortgage payment after buying this place for $185,000. We're gonna do mortgage calculator. All right, I like to do the one that includes the taxes and the insurance and all of that good stuff. All right, so what did we buy this property for? $185,000. 1, 2, 3. 25% down. You can get into a property for 20% down. The reason why I'm doing 25 is because generally you get better terms. There's just more fees involved, and it just makes sense to put that extra 5% down. Plus, hey, look, the cash flow is going to be even better when we're putting an extra 5% down. All right, 30 years, 3% interest rate. Look, if you're buying this as a straight up investment property, it would be a little bit higher. That's for a homeowner occupied interest rate, but for the sake of this, we're going to do the other example with the more well-established neighborhood at the same interest rate, so I'm not going to change it just for the sake of the example. Homeowners insurance, $298. I know Florida has like the most expensive homeowners insurance, but that is pretty expensive, especially for homeowners insurance. For a landlord insurance, I can see it being more, but let's go with like $220, and I still think that's pretty conservative. That's fine. We'll leave the property tax analysis as they say it is. So $967 is our mortgage payment. All right, we're gonna do the same calculations on both these properties, right? So we're renting this property out for $1,750. We're gonna assume that, hey, we want to retire early and we wanna have a passive lifestyle. So we are going to hire a property manager for 8%, which means we have 92% left of this. So we have $1,610. Now we're gonna set aside money for repairs, vacancies, maintenance, capital expenditures. We're gonna set aside $200 a month that over time will cover those things. And remember, we're not gonna have many repairs, capital expenditures, and all those things because, look, we renovated the property when we bought it. That's why we bought a fixer-upper, because we're getting it for cheaper. Our mortgage payment's gonna be smaller, so our cash flow will be bigger. We're gonna fix it up to begin with. So all we really have to do is worry about maintenance, store this $200 up over time, and then we can use that money, 10, 15, 20 years later when we gotta replace things again. We'll have a good amount of cash reserves to do that. All right, so now we're left with $1,410 minus $967. $443 is our cash flow on this property. That's not bad. That's pretty dang good. Let me get this out here. $443. All right, on cheap homes. Cool. Now let's look at the well-established neighborhood. All right, and I already know this one because this is in, I probably shouldn't even say, but it's in my neighborhood, and it was a comp that I looked at when I was buying my house. So that's what we're gonna go look at. And the reason why it's a good comp is because it's literally someone who bought a fixer-upper, fixed it up, and rented it out. So in the scenario that we just did with the cheap home, we were kind of assuming some things, assuming this is what you bought it for, assuming this is what you rented it out for. For this well-established neighborhood, we are literally gonna be looking at a home that somebody actually bought and actually rented it out for. So we know the exact price for both the sale and the rent. So you can see this is what it looked like after they fixed it up. They left the white appliances. I would have made them stainless steel, but anyways, they bought it for $285. All right, so now we're gonna replace this with $285,000. We're still gonna put 25% down. Everything else is the same. $1,371 is our mortgage payment. So now, what did they rent this property out for? Good question. Let's see, should be somewhere on here. $2,145. So you listed for rent, $2,190, didn't get it, $2,145. $2,145 it went. Now, there is something else. If this home has a pool, resident will be charged a monthly $150 pool maintenance fee. Okay, so basically what that means is, if this home does have a pool, basically means that the landlord is taking care of the pool, and so it's $2,145 plus $150 for the pool. In this case, it's probably a property management company that's doing that. And so really the rent isn't just $21.45, it's $21.45 plus $150. So $21.45 is what they charge for rent. This home also has a pool, so plus $150. So basically they rented this home out for $22.95, right? Now we hired a property manager, 0.92, 21.11. We're setting aside $200 a month for capital reserves and repairs and everything. Now we're at $1,900. Now, how much is our mortgage payment? $1,371. $540. Wow, it's actually even more than what the cheap home was. But let's say you say, hey, look, well, part of that, the $150, get that out of there because it's all going straight to pool maintenance. Get rid of that. All right, let's get rid of that then. $390. All right, so now you're looking at $390 for, I don't like how that looks. I want it on the reverse. $390 for, let's call it an expensive home, right? Relative to this one, it's really not, it's actually still pretty cheap. But we'll call it relative to the cheap home, expensive. $443 versus $390. So now you're getting an extra $50 in cash flow. So, but now you got to consider though, here's the difference, right? Let's say both of these homes appreciate on average 3% a year. Well, that other home, you know, yeah, you bought it for $185 or whatever we said. After you fix it up, now it might be worth, I don't know, $240, $250. So 3% on $250 is going to get you your net worth, the value of your home's going up $7,500 a year. Now this home, I know this neighborhood pretty well, fixed up, probably getting $365 because it's, and on 3%. Now your home value is going up almost $11,000 a year. You know, plus your principal pay down on this place is going to be bigger on the more expensive home. So you're getting more appreciation, you're getting more principal pay down, and this is a more well-established area. So you can count on a little bit more. Your tenant pool selection might be a little bit more high quality, but it's not to say that the cheaper home area can't come up. I know a lot of people like the area, and it is something that I was considering investing in and might still consider. But it's just, you know, something to ask yourself is, yes, the cheaper homes do give you a higher cash flow, at least here in Orlando, Florida, but not by much. Not by much. Now, here's the key here on how you really get good cash flow, really anywhere, how you improve your cash flow, but especially here in Orlando, Florida. What did we do in both of these scenarios? We bought a fixer-upper. We bought something that needed some work, which allowed us to get it below market value. So that's the key here. Orlando is pretty good. I mean, Florida in general, really anywhere in Florida, is pretty good at if you buy a place, even in a more expensive area, generally the rents are a lot higher in that area, and it almost makes up for it. So if you're just able to get something below market value because it needed work and you're able to get it for a lower cost basis, once you fix it up, your cash flow is almost always going to be higher. Plus, now you have equity in that place, and now you can either refinance that place or get a home equity line of credit if you bought it as a primary residence, and then you can use that money to go and buy another place. So the key here is to buy, whether you want to buy in the cheap home area or you want to buy in the expensive home area, whatever suits your personality better, whichever one you do, you have to try to buy something that needs some work so that way you can get it below market value. If you guys like this video, if you found it helpful, and you know anyone else who would benefit from it, share it with them. And if you want to see more content like this and learn more tips from a real estate agent in the field every day, subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep you guys posted. Thanks.